Flipkart, 1.4 billion that we understand it's getting in. Money pouring into Indian commerce, but why the lower valuation?
Well, the internet market there is a little bit overheated, and you're seeing some consolidation, and that's why you're also seeing some companies rush in. That it's an opportune time to get in on the e-commerce leader while the industry consolidates, and venture capital is, even though it's a big deal for Flipkart, that venture capital is not going to be pouring into some of these other startups competing in the space.
Colin, it's great timing for us because we just spent all of last week talking about the opportunities for investment in India, whether you're a tech investor. And it seems as though Apple's going in there. We've got many of the tech giants really understanding that India might be where it's hot while China potentially cools down a little bit. Is it all about Indian e-commerce right now?
You know, India is the world's #2 largest population. You're talking about roughly 1.2 billion people behind China with 1.4 billion, and the United States around 320 million, to give you the size of the opportunity these companies are chasing after. And what many investors are realizing is that Amazon is positioning to take this marketplace, and you're seeing consolidation happening around the remaining companies so they can fend off Amazon. And in particular, with eBay handing over their assets in India, plus the infusion of this $1 billion in cash from Microsoft, Tencent, and eBay, these are all companies that are positioned to compete against Amazon. So they're consolidating around Flipkart to have a viable competitor to Amazon.
And Spencer, update us, because this could just be a stepping stone in this saga that is a consolidation involving Flipkart, because Snapdeal, backed by Masayoshi Son, who I think owns about 1/3 of Snapdeal, another e-commerce player in India, could actually be teaming with Flipkart in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of the speculation is, and there's even some sources saying that deal's in the works. And eBay also has wound down its Snapdeal ownership, but still has about 5% ownership in Snapdeal. And that basically you're seeing this global coalition building around Flipkart to fight Amazon in this critical market. And your other guest mentioned the population, and it's not just the population; it's also the internet access. And internet access in India is really growing quickly, along with wealth, and I think it's at about 450 million now. So the country has, even if you just limit it to the number of connected people, it's still far larger than the U.S.
A global coalition. I rather like that turn of phrase, Spencer. And let's ask, therefore, Colin about it. The global coalition that's forming, do you think it's actually enough to stop the $5 billion bet that Jeff Bezos is making with Amazon?
Well, that's the question, right? And what we want to see is SoftBank's involvement, and particularly the combination of Flipkart and Snapdeal. That would consolidate, two of the players. Again, you'd have that formidable rival to Amazon. And the thing to remember about the marketplace in India is it's still relatively nascent, right? The distribution channels are fine in tier 1 cities, but when you move to tier 2 and tier 3, where a lot of the growth is going to be, there's still going to be a massive need for investment. Amazon can fund investment from its own cash flows. Companies like Flipkart are going to have to rely on VC money, right? And money from external sources. And currently, this is an industry that's burning a lot of cash, right? We're seeing literally negative gross margins, billions of dollars being invested every single year. So it's going to be a battle, and Amazon is well positioned, given its capital base, to succeed. Plus, they lost in China. They lost to Alibaba. They want to prove to investors that they can win in foreign markets like India.
And the winner being Alibaba, who at the time I think was backed to a certain extent by Masayoshi Son, sort of taking another leaf out of his well-known playbook there. And do you think that therefore the money, it's interesting, he seems to be willing to sacrifice some of the valuation in Snapdeal, which could merge with Flipkart. There's rumors that we might see an 85% cut in the valuation of Snapdeal if indeed we do see a combination of the two teams. It looks as though Masayoshi Son himself is willing to really take a hit to win in the longer term.
Correct, and that will be a very interesting transaction to watch and to see how it's structured, because Son may be willing to take that loss on Snapdeal if he can get a larger stake in Flipkart, and he likes to have stakes that are in that more meaningful category of 20 to 35%. We saw them do that with Alibaba. That was a tremendous investment for them, and we'll see if they can do that again in India.